Rookies reporting right here in Berea. I love the videos. Casey Concepcion is here. Newly married Spencer Fano in the building. That means we are that much closer to training camp. We are that much closer to football. Welcome to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. I'm Matt Fontana. Jason Gibbs in for the boys today. Gibbs, it's one of those minor holidays. You know, the opening of training camp is always a fun day. The home opener is a big one. But today, players in the building, coaches are here, and training camp is right around the corner. I love it. I love it.
All right. You played football at a level? At
Division
a level.
3.
Come on now. You were
Glorified
a star at Brunswick.
I got to do spring ball in the Browns facility. That's the closest it was the coolest thing. We thought that was the coolest thing in the world that we got to go over
by the way.
I know. It's awesome. It's the best thing. Shout out Ball Moss Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
All Jackets.
What is your best memory of the first day of football season at any level?
So the number one thing is the conditioning test, which is always usually on the first day, right? And, of course, there are people that didn't prepare properly for it. So I'll tell you this quick story at BW. So they used to always tell us, they gave you the conditioning test before camp because they said, we want you to be prepared for it. And I said, okay. So I show up, and I'm watching all these upperclassmen just not even care. They just fail it. And they're like, yeah, we'll run the extra conditioning like we don't really care. So here I go, and I'm like, all right, we're going to knock this out, right? I had cleats on that didn't fit me properly. I got a blister, and I kept going. And I got done with the conditioning test, and it got so bad, I had to sit out a week of practice. So then my coach yells at me. He goes, why didn't you stop? And I said, you told me to finish. And I did finish, by the way, and I got it under the time. And he goes, basically, like, you idiot. Like, why didn't you just stop? And I was like, I was so paralyzed with fear of not finishing the conditioning test that I ran through, injured myself, and missed a week of practice. So that was one of my first experience. That was day one, and I never recovered after that.
There was a time here where we were allowed as the media to come in and watch
the conditioning test.
Oh,
yeah. Because everybody's got different ones. Some do the short shuttles under time. We used to do the ladders. So you'd start at the end line, 20 and back, 35 and back, opposite 45 and back, and then it was just a consistent run. Because who was it? Remember when Albert Hainsworth couldn't pass it and then Mike Golick went out and ran it and passed it? Yeah. Some of it, and I mean, you see the Browns, for a lot of the fans that come out, they don't see the conditioning per se because I don't think they really even kind of do it so much on the NFL level. But you'll see guys get extra work in because they know they need to. I think it's super interesting now, the hamstring testing that they do and the sports science to try to keep these guys healthy throughout all of training camp because it's just such a grind. It's changed, and it really does kind of start. I'm not saying they're out in the practice field today, but it really does start with getting these guys in the building, getting them acclimated, and they all work out all season long, so they're in great shape. But, man, there's something different about camp shape, too, and getting ready for the season.
Well, and that was Coach Todd Monken's message to the team back the second week in June, when they departed mandatory minicamp. Make sure you are ready to go when you arrive in this building in late July.
Yeah.
You're going to have 6 weeks off. Enjoy every minute of it. Because when you come back here, you're here. And you're here for the next 5 months.
Well, and there was a rookie that was talking about this. I think it's a perfect segue for our Hot Topics of the Day presented by University Hospitals, the official healthcare provider of your Cleveland Browns. It was a couple years ago, and he was out in training camp, and he goes, I didn't know it got this hot here. You think about Cleveland and, I guess, Buffalo, the North. You're like, oh, snow. We'll get there. Don't worry. You'll be out there. It's 93, man.
Yeah.
You can get some blazers, some days out there at training camp. And, yeah, I'm sure coach is you got to be ready because, I know, Gibbs, you've been doing this a long time too. The good coaches, they don't want wasted reps. They hate when guys aren't, first off, available, so you got to be conditioned and healthy and ready to go. But even just what goes into the walkthroughs for practice, we're not wasting reps because you can't line up properly. We're not wasting reps when you're jumping off sides. We got work to do. And I think about this so much, and I'm excited to do the top 10 list for the top 10 most important Browns players and coaches getting into the season. And I was going through my list, and I go, there's a lot of new faces here. There's a lot to get up to speed. Offense, defense, players, the importance of it for this team. And it really, I don't mean to be trivial about it. It starts today. It does start with these guys getting in the building. It's exciting. I love training camp, man. You know me. Like I used to not argue with Tony Grossi all the time because Tony's like, you love practice, and I go, I could sit here for hours and watch these guys run practice all day.
I will tell you this though, and everybody has the way that they run things.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the last couple of years it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
like we were out there. It was an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was an hour and 20 minutes, and and to me, I was kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we really going to get after it? Even like days and pads, I felt like it was a little tough. It doesn't mean that guys aren't ready, but there's a lot that goes into it, especially now with the soft tissue injuries and what's the best time of day to practice and how do you manage everything. And there's no right way, there's no wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, Kevin Stefanski went to the playoffs twice and had the best success that anybody's had since 1999. That being said, I always felt like we were not quite there come week one. And I know you don't want to be playing your best football week one. It's playing your best football in November and December. But how many times have we said in week one, if you're 0-1 going into week two, you're just chasing?
Yeah.
And I think Todd Monken is going to take a much different approach than we've seen in the past, and things are going to be firing on all cylinders. You will want to be in your seat at 1:30 for training camp practice.
If you got tickets, which I was like a lot of people out there, I was in the queue. I got some. I'm excited to bring a real passing of the torch here. I'm bringing my 5-year-old next week.
Nice.
So that's super exciting. He signed up for flag football, so I'm going to say, hey, you see that stick?
What's he good at?
So he did T-ball this year. He's lefty, by the way.
Oh.
So he golfs right up your alley here too, Gibbs, because he golfs and he's lefty. And I always joke that Augusta is set up for lefties. One day we'll see. You never know. But I used to think he was right-handed, so I'd switch him around. In baseball, I'm like, it's probably better you swing left-handed in baseball. Golf, I really don't care. And he rips it, man. He's good at it. So T-ball we were in, and this fall we were like, do you want to do soccer again or you want to try football? I'm interested to see him in space. Because he's never soccer, he really didn't get it's hard, dribbling the ball and all that. So football, I was like, listen, I'm going to take you out to camp, and I'm going to be like, I don't know. I hope he can be a skill player to some level. We'll see. He might be on the offensive line. Watch Spencer Fano. Let's watch a little Denzel Boston here. Let's see what these guys are doing out here. So it's exciting to.
You want to be a wide receiver, kid? Make sure you know how to block.
Block. That's a good one.
You got to block.
Catch the ball. Get out there.
Yep.
But
catching the ball always helps.
You mentioned about the right out the jump. That's one of my things, Gibbs, that I'm so excited to see about Coach Monken is this his first time. He's been in the NFL for so long. He's been in the game. I'm sure that through all of his stops, he's made all these mental notes about how I want to do things or how I like to run things. And now it's his. It's his to control. It's his to set up how he wants to do it. And I just think there's a real excitement there to be seen on what do different periods of the practice look like. What's the emphasis on special teams versus, like you said, when we get into padded practices, we'll have the joint practices, before you know it. That's something that, with Coach Stefanski here for as long as it was, we got into that rhythm and you kind of knew what to expect. It's all brand new with Coach Monken, not just because he's here for the first time, but he's doing it even himself for the first time on what he wants to put. We've heard Coach say this, I want to put my thumbprint, this is his version of the Cleveland Browns. This is Coach Monken's version of that. And it starts with training camp coming up next week.
Yeah, I've seen other people. I know what works. I know what doesn't.
Yeah.
I finally get my chance here.
You can always check in, and we'll do a little mailbag today as well. Get your questions in. You can do it on Twitter, X at Browns_Daily, the YouTube chat, which is always up, or you can email them now if you'd like. Browns Radio at clevelandbrowns.com. Is that a new email for you guys?
It has been in the offseason.
Nice.
We've gotten some good traction.
Browns radio at clevelandbrowns.com, so we'll get to there.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your biggest question?
So
outside of the QBs,
yeah, we'll set
we
that
all
aside.
know that's
Yeah.
the low-hanging fruit.
And I don't want to say that there's a wrong answer in that. I see both Deshaun and Shedeur. I see reasons for both. I understand that. Nothing's going to change until we get there, until they start playing. So, yeah, you're right. Let's set that aside. Gibbs, it is – well, I'll tell you this. Seeing what that rookie class was, and we're going to do this list a little bit later from Aaron Schatz of ESPN. He did the top teams under the age of 25. If you are 25, you're not on this list. Because, like, for the Browns, Jared Verse, he is 25. He doesn't count for this. So, and the Browns, to spoil it, we'll get to it later, ranked very high because the excitement around Schlesinger and Graham and Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins. And then I think about, man, I can't wait to see Denzel Boston out there. I can't wait to see Casey Concepcion. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I don't think I've been on with you guys since the draft, or maybe I have. I don't know. Gibbs, I was like salad. I go, give me that guy. That's the guy for me.
That Friday night could change your franchise.
Electric. It's so
what happened
good
with this organization.
And that's, I think, one of the areas is having the quantity of rookies that you have, and so many guys at so many different positions, which is exciting. But that's where, like, a lot of our fans that are, lucky enough if you got tickets to come to training camp, or even what we do at preseason games when we're down at the stadium, you just start identifying and just start saying, like, oh, yeah, like, I've seen Denzel Boston video, but now I get to see him here in a game. I get to see him out here at practice. I've seen some tape of Spencer Fano. Now I get to see him. And that's what, it's called for. That's when you fall in love with guys. That's where you find players that you're like, that's my guy. I want him to see him. So that's probably number one for me, is seeing Denzel Boston, Concepcion. Again, just to see. Fano is hard in practice because it's line and you don't really have the full
until we
pads
get
on.
Padded practices.
Yeah,
which
that'll
we're
be.
We're gonna have a lot of.
Well, and that'll get me into my next one here. On the biggest questions I have is that offensive line. I know people are excited about Parker's Brailsford. What's that center position look like? I'm sure you guys did Jeremy Fowler's rundown of the top 10. Elton Jenkins was honorable mention on the offensive line. I know he's going to start. Where is a big question for me. And I know sometimes offensive line isn't like a real fun thing to discuss, but you got Fano. Zion Johnson's going to start on one side, probably, I think, the right. You have Howard over there on the right. But I think there's some intrigue there with that offensive line on how that's going to look and exactly, again, whoever starts at quarterback, how important that's going to be. So for me, it's definitely the rookies are number one for me, but that offensive line is something. The defense, because Mike Rutenberg, the job that he's going to have to undertake with this, we expect Jared Verse to not be Myles Garrett, but be pretty close and kind of do that. But is Tyson Campbell what we all kind of saw glimpses of last year? I mentioned Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I think this is a massive year for my guy Grant Delpit from just a contract situation. What's Denzel? Future contract maybe, restructure maybe coming to kind of free up some of the cap space. I don't think Denzel's going anywhere. Quincy Williams, one of the most, I think, underrated parts of this offseason was getting him to play that linebacker role. And then you get to the D-line. You're going to have the guys there that you're looking for. Who's going to be on the other side of Jared Verse? That's it. And, it's, again, the unprovenness maybe of some of these guys. It's nerve-wracking, but I just choose to say I'm going to be excited about this and see what these guys have, to go for the season. Because there's battles to be had, which I know every coach wants to tell you. We want quarterback, or not quarterback, but you just want competition at all these other positions. You got some, but Gibbs, I think you have enough to where, like, I know our starting corners. I know our starting safeties. I know pretty much our starting linebackers. Like, there's that sense of comfort that I have that there's enough guys that I feel good about being the starters at some of those spots.
Yeah, I think offensive line and where all of these guys line up, who's going to play center, that's important. Like, you've remade the line, but who's playing where?
Yeah.
It's been a complete overhaul. Is DeJuan Jones getting a shot? He's done a nice job this offseason remaking himself, but he's been injury prone. So where do we stand on that? And I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers. Can Jerry
Yeah.
Jeudy bounce back?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Cedric Tillman's in a contract year. I mean, does he make it? You know, does he make the cut? You know, there were some things. You know, we'll get to Daniel Oyefusi's 53-man projection. I don't think he's on it. Like, that's something notable and worth watching.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, seeing what Andrew Berry's been able to do to remake this roster, and it's something that I've actually talked a little bit about on my shows this week, is that I truly, there's no disrespect to Deshaun or Shedeur, and I hope Shedeur or Deshaun can be the answer, but it's like you have set yourself up that it just comes down to that quarterback. And if it's not one of these guys, which you have a whole season to figure that out, to go into next season, hopefully have that stability on the offensive line. I doubt highly you're going to be needing for receivers. Big Denzel Boston fan. And KC, too. I'm excited. I don't think you're going to need a running back. You're going to be good at tight end. You're good on D-tackle. You're certainly good on linebackers. You're good on edge rush. You're good on corner. You're good on safety. Like, it just all comes back to you've built it to this. You've hit this point. You've finally come to this one point and now it's the hardest one to find, the most important position to find, you know, a quarterback. But to your point too, Gibbs, like that competition is on for a lot of these where, draft pick, that doesn't mean much. There's other guys competing here to take this job from you, and we are going to put the best out there. But draft pick be damned. I mean, it's important, yes, that we drafted you and you're here, but like, are you playing to the level that we need to put these guys in the position to win? And make no mistake on this too. Like, I know people want to talk about, just getting a good draft. This team is out to win. And I think they are going to win this year. I think they're going to win more than a lot of people expect them to.
Yeah, go ahead and tell Todd Monken that are you going to tank this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck on that response. I don't think I have enough dump buttons for that one.
And, like, what that says to the young guys trying to learn how to make it, like, we're not all about winning. That's not. No. That never works. It doesn't work. There's no good examples of that.
No, I mean, and you talk about the offensive line. You know, we talk about Spencer Fano. We talk about Parker Brailsford. What can he do? And then the guy that's the lost guy from Friday night, Austin Barber.
Austin Barber. I like that pick out of Florida.
He's
I did like him.
a beast.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Big.
And I don't know that they think he might be able to play guard or tackle.
Yeah.
I'm like, he might end up being a tackle that has something to say here before we're all said and done.
Well, and Titus Howard, I mean, he is 30, so the future is never a bad thing to think about. And that's where I would say that there's 4 locked in. Like, you know, Spencer Fano starting at left. I think you know Howard starting at right. I know Zion Johnson is going to start one of the 2 guards, and I know Elton Jenkins is starting. The only question
I would
is
like to think so. Yeah.
The other guard, center. Then you start talking Brailsford. You start talking about Whippler. You start talking about maybe Zach Zinter or Tevin Jenkins, who's probably going to be that other. Like, if you put Jenkins at center, talking about Elton Jenkins, I think 100% Tevin Jenkins is your starting right guard. But at least you got bodies. You know, at least you got the guys that you can kind of figure out. And that's, I want to spoil my top 10 list, which we'll get to later because I have a curveball on that one for you. But that's going to be a job of the coaches to kind of figure that out and see where it plays out. And that's where camp, I think for the Browns to understand, like, a lot of that focus is going to be on the quarterbacks too. But there's going to be enough other positions and enough other who's starting at receiver? Yeah, you okay, Jerry, probably. Are we going 3 more 3 wide receiver sets? Are you going to do more 10 personnel? Where's Harold Fannin coming? You drafted 2 tight ends. Those guys are going to have to fight for a job. They signed Jack Stoll. Like, there's going to be plenty there. And that's the exciting thing, I think, once we get to camp, because the other thing, too, about training camp, that's your unbridled optimism time. There's no reason to be down. There's no reason to be upset. I get people want to try to project, and I know there's a lot of Shedeur Sanders fans out there that will be upset if he's not the starting quarterback. I understand that. You still need to be a fan of the Cleveland Browns first. You can be a fan of these players individually. Start with the Browns and know that they're going to try to do the best that they can for this team. Again, starting today, and before we know it, veterans are going to be here in a couple of days, and we'll be off to the races.
Veterans on Tuesday, first full squad next Wednesday, and first camp practice next Friday.
When are they? Do you know? We don't know when they're in pads yet, right? Depends.
I may or may not.
Okay,
not be privileged to give that information out. I can tell you this: we're going to be in pads a lot.
Yeah, as much as they allow. As much as they allow. Which it is different from, like, even back in the day. I remember lining up on Front Street when it was just a free-for-all, and you just run in, and then they closed the gates when you ran out of people, and they were in pads, man, all day. Every day they seem to
Remember
be
the Hugh Jackson siren period?
Oh, yeah. The other one, you'll remember this because you were standing right next to me. When Manziel came out in those bright neon green shoes, and everybody goes, "What are you doing?" And then they sent him back inside to change.
Yep.
And they're like, "You can't wear those out here, man. What are you doing?"
John Paul football.
Oh God, Odell. The first day Odell was here, I've never seen a tunnel like that. Where the players walk out, and normally it's nice because they have the kids out there doing the line and all that. It was a line of media members because everybody wanted the first picture of Odell. And I'm pretty sure Peter was like, "You guys need to back up. Like, get out of the facility. Let these guys come out." That was a crazy one. I mean, that's the other thing. This camp, it doesn't, thankfully, I think it doesn't have that kind of drama, I guess. Like, it is, I get that it's going to be Watson and Shedeur, and everybody's going to be want to watching that, and who's taking first team reps and how they looked in this practice and things like that. But for the most part, you can get into it, and it is just football, which is, like, thank goodness that you can just focus on that, which is great.
And with Todd Monken and company, it will be football.
Yeah, I bet.
There will be a lot of football.
And I think the other part about him navigating this as his first one, because we might see changes, like what he thinks is working in the first week of practice might not. Then you get to your joint practices, like there's going to be some ebbs and flows to it. But like you said, if you got tickets, you're going to want to be here on time, because it's like they're going to start, they're going to be going, they're going to be off the races, and it's going to be you always want the up tempo, but I think with offensive coaches it always leans that way. Like, Todd Monken wants the offense to win. He's going to want them to win these periods and win these battles when they're out there on the field. Doesn't mean that he doesn't want the defense looking poor and not looking well, but I imagine that there's going to be a lot of high competition periods, a lot of high adrenaline. Just you want to get these guys competing.
We saw it in OTAs and in minicamp.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of competition.
Yeah. And I think also where the Browns end up at the end of this camp, to your point earlier, which you made, which was great, how they get ready to go for that first game, because you're out the rip and you got a tough opening couple of games there, especially with Jacksonville making the playoffs. They feel really good about themselves. You're going to want to come out of that gate firing, and that's something I've talked to people about too, Gibbs, is like where or when the Browns win these games is kind of second. You just want them to win. And there's an element, let's call it for what it is. Todd Monken wants to prove to people that he knows how to win football games. That's an important part of his job as a first-time head coach, is to prove to everybody, I can do this. Is he going to win? I hope he wins a lot. I do. But even if it's not, just at some point proven, hey, we are on the right path here. We know where we're doing. We know where we're going on this. And it could start even with that first game, which, again, it's crazy to think about, is month and a half away.
NFL, sending us to Florida back-to-back weeks in September.
They're not staying down there, right? They'll come back. Yeah,
we'll come back.
That Florida's not so bad.
No.
Just wait till we get to the 18 games and everybody's got to go international once, because that's coming. You know that's coming.
Correct.
Are they going to fight over the grass? Here's my theory. You want my theory? So the CBA is not up till 2031, I think. I had to look this up. But the reports are that the NFL wants to push this 18-game thing before that. I wonder if this World Cup turf grass thing starts to make its way in.
I mean, you put grass in domes.
I this might shock some people out here. I'm not a civil engineer, probably for the betterment of our community. New Orleans is the first one I thought of. How is that gonna work? I know there's who is it? Arizona and Vegas. They roll it in and out, right? Like, and there's turf outside. Cincinnati, Buffalo, Gillette. Like, they have the turf outside. What do you do in Detroit? How could you do that?
Well, you probably do it the same way that you did this year for the World Cup in Atlanta and in Dallas.
Yeah, they did find a way.
Those were indoor stadiums.
I wonder if that's their bargaining chip to get that 18th game out of the PA. Because I don't think there's many chips left. The money's going up. I mean, money solves all problems. But I was thinking about that when we're getting ready to go, because I drive by the stadium site a lot actually on the highway, and it's fun to see the progress. They're not much; it's a hole in the ground, but they're still building. I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, what if they came down and like, yeah, the new turf, the new stadium that looks all good. Yeah, we're gonna put some grass in there. Not my job to figure that out. I don't know.
No.
Kansas City's got their renderings out.
Saw that. Did you see Carolina's redoing theirs?
I
They put
did.
theirs out today, but I don't understand. Maybe they should build an indoor facility since they practiced in the rain today for their first training camp practice, and their starting linebacker tore his knee up.
Yeah. That, I'm glad you brought that up too, because we want to be all ready to go and stuff. There are just some malpractice head coaches out there that again, I get that there's got to be an excitement. This is my first time doing this job. But Todd Monken, who's been in the business for so long, I don't see him being one of those guys to just be taking risks and worrying about, we're just, we'll tough it up. That's how you get guys hurt. That is how you get guys hurt. And the other thing, because we all know past too, too many veteran guys. I'm going to sit out today. I don't feel like doing it. You got a bunch of young, hungry guys on this team that I think are going to want to be out there practicing. You want that opposite, right? And I'm sure any coach tell you, I want to hold guys back from having to go out there and be like, hey, you ran, all the sports science stuff. You're running a lot the other day. Today's the day to sit you down. Oh, man, I want to practice. All right, that's good, but we're going to sit you down today to save you for tomorrow. That stuff is going to be – it's important for every training camp to try to get guys through it as healthy as you can. And it all starts soon. I'm waiting to see. I was watching every video, too, like Spencer Fano walking in. I'm like, man, football's
We'll
back.
have some of those.
Yeah.
Dr. J has pulled a few of those for
Love
us.
it. We'll get to it. All right, coming up, we mentioned this, that there is we'll get to this under 25 talent team in a little bit, but I've teased this. Gibbs tasked me with a top 10 list. And I do want you, when Bo and Nathan and Siciliano come back, they did a top 10 most important Browns people. Doesn't have to be a player. I've got coaches on this list. I put my top 10 together. We'll get to some of that. Don't forget about the mailbag. You can send them in on the YouTube chat. You can also send them on Twitter X, Browns_daily, or you can email them now at brownsradio@clevelandbrowns.com. Just kicking things off, it's Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. As always, bet responsibly. Matt Fontaine and Jason Gibbs with you this afternoon. Back right after this. Cleveland Browns Daily presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. You can always add some fun to your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today and get $50 in bonus bets when you place your first wager of $10 or more. Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. He's Jason Gibbs. I'm Matt Fontana in for the boys today here on Cleveland Browns Daily. So I'm joining the crew in a way on this. You said you had Siciliano and Zagura gave their top 10 most important people to the success of the Cleveland Browns in 2026. Now, I loved how you did this because you put coaches and players.
That's right.
So it's a little bit of everybody mixed in on this top 10 list. So I'm going to start with one that I teased, and I'm excited.
Are you going 10 to 1?
You want me to do 10 to 1? I feel like we should build the momentum
great.
up to
there
1.
There you go.
So you got to tell me if any of these guys didn't make any of the list, because that's kind of my goal, is to get somebody on this list that Nathan or Andrew didn't and like make them think a little bit. You know my game. So at number 10, I potentially feel like this could be one. That is offensive line coach George Warhop.
Oh, he made Siciliano had him like number 3, I think, on the list. Number 4 on the list.
I got him a little down. I think it's because of what we've talked about. It's some young guys potentially in Fano, Brailsford, we'll see. But it's just, what's this mix going to look like? How is this going to look when it comes to what this offensive line is going to play like, what we want them to play like in this Todd Monken offense, and just the makeup. So I'm going to put George Warhop there at number 10. All right, next on my list, and I think it's just because when you talk about importance of any season, it's usually reserved for the really good teams, but I think it's important for every team. Andre Schmidt. Got to make our kicks. Got to be important on the kicker side of things.
I don't think anybody had Andre Schmidt. We had a special teams coordinator.
Okay.
But we didn't have Schmidt.
Well, and again, I think special teams overall is very important, and I feel good about Corey Bojorquez, who I think had a fantastic, he had a really solid year last year, really good year at sometimes. But I think Andre Schmidt, like everybody, we were kind of in this purgatory, and we were turning kickers over, and we tried so many. The veteran guy, we'll draft a guy, this and here comes Andre. And I know it's just 1 year, Gibbs, but he showed me a lot last year. And it's a minor position, I understand. It's minor until it's a 47-yarder with 3 seconds to go, win or go home.
It's 17-16 and midway through the fourth.
Exactly, right. You need that. So I threw Andre Schmidt on my list there. So that's the first one that maybe I didn't have on the other
I think that is a super important. He needs to build off of what he did at the end of last season. Because if you come out and regress, then we're back to square one, and that's problematic. But yeah, I think I would definitely put him on there because you're going to need to score points any way you can.
Yeah, and that's, again, maybe reserved for more of the teams that you're in closer games. And I'm not wishing the season away at all. Like, there's going to be important games. And I just think, again, at the end of the day, there's going to be some kicks that come down to it. And like you said, I just want him to grow. I just want him to build, keep going on what he's doing, because I just think I really am excited about him. I think he can do it. So he's also my mom's favorite player. So it doesn't hurt. She loves the story about his mom, and unfortunately, and just he always makes sound across. My mom loves Andre Schmidt, so I hope he does well.
Schmidt's great. Bojorquez is great. Sunahara is the man.
Look, you want to know how old? I called Rex Sunahara games at Bay
with Ron Rutt as the head coach at Bay Village.
Yeah, me and Munch on Fridays. Dino too. I'm not that old. I was doing play-by-play when I was 10. I'm just kidding. But I remember Rex Sunahara because he was a really good basketball player too.
Yes, he was.
Really good basketball player on that. All right, I'm up to number 8. This is a selfish one for me. Top 10 most important Browns player or people this season. I'm going to put Denzel Boston on my list at number 8. I loved that pick. I wanted him at 24. And when he was still there in the second round, and then just that excitement when that pick was made, because I was like, it's chef's kiss perfect. I was like, this is meant to be. I know it's been just the offseason OTAs, mini camps, but if people haven't seen some clips of this kid, he's big, he's fast, he's got good hands. I like his body control. He finds the open part. And I think just the compliment of, I would, maybe slice this, Kuda, or, double this up with Denzel and KC. But I just think those two there. But I gave the nod to Denzel Boston just because I'm really excited about him being with the Cleveland Browns.
I think Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Jerry Jeudy. Now defenses have to game plan. For
Yeah,
you.
that's a good point. Good
You
point.
know, that's that you've gone out and you've gotten some people that can make some plays, and that's a lot is expected of him. But I'm pretty confident Denzel Boston can handle him. I'll never forget the G-Man, Dr. J, and I were in here on the night of the draft. Well, we have certain things that we have access to through the team, so we can kind of know what's going on when it comes to picks. So that second round starts, and we're 3 picks in, and I'm like,
You're like, this is gonna
McNeil
is
Warren
happen.
hasn't been picked. Boston hasn't been picked. Like, we're going to reach a point where one of these might actually be on the board for us, which I never thought was going to be the case.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get to the point and you're like, holy
cow. I was the same way.
both of them are going to be there.
Yeah. And, trade back up to go get Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Like, I know I don't mean to probably dramatize it more than it needs to be, but those are the ones that you look back. Like, it's the Eagles every year. We're like, why? Why do you keep letting them do this? The Eagles keep finding these guys in the 20s. You're like, stop letting good players go to those teams. I felt that with the Cleveland Browns this past year, especially with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Denzel Boston. I was like, finally some luck for us here. I was like, you're letting good players fall to us. And again, give a lot of credit to AB and his staff for making those moves and making the picks number 1. Which was awesome. I got Denzel Boston at number 8. All right, number 7. This might be not on either of their lists, but I don't believe it. I think this guy is. Mike Rutenberg at number 7 for me. New defense. I've got other defensive players that we'll get to on our list. I just, Gibbs, that's a big undertaking to come in here with a defense over the last several seasons that was pretty historic, borderline historic in some areas. And to say it's not just the scheme, but we have had a turnover of players here. Now, you still got Denzel and Delpit and some guys that have been through it before. But for the most part, you got a lot of new guys coming here, which, again, there's an excitement to have some young guys here. But I just think that's a big undertaking. And I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm not going in with this, well, I'm going to compare it to what years past was or what Jim Schwartz was doing or not doing here. It's a brand new day. I'm excited for that day. It's just going to be a lot of work. I'm sure that everybody calls him Rudy, right? Coach Rudy.
That's right.
I'm sure he's up to the task, and I'm excited and waiting to see it, but it's going to be a big job for him, so I got him at 7.
So much is made of, hey, make sure Jared Verse remembers he's Jared Verse. He doesn't have to be Myles Garrett. Mike Rutenberg doesn't have to be Jim Schwartz.
Right. He's going to put his own little.
There were still some faults.
Sure.
With last year's defense and some slip ups.
And the remaking of it too, of like guys that are on the list that I'll get to in a sec. Like, I think they're very versatile in what they can do too. So it's like it opens you up to play in some different ways. All right, I'm at number 6, top 10 most important Browns people for 2026. Carson Schlesinger. He is one of your best players, even as just a 1 year in the bag going into year 2. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Number 3, I know you guys probably brought this up with a Luke Kuechly comp in Jeremy Fowler's top 10 list. Kuechly going into Check's Notes Hall of Fame. It was funny because you talked about the Panthers. I'm like, man, they're practicing already. And go, oh, yeah, they're in the Hall of Fame game because Luke Kuechly's going in.
That's 2 weeks? That's 2 weeks from now. We have football.
Yeah, because you have the Cardinals because Larry Fitz is going in.
That's right.
On the other side.
Siciliano was saying how we shouldn't sleep on the Hall of Fame game. He goes,
never.
People don't say they don't watch it. You would be wrong. 7 million people watched last year's game.
I don't whatever beverage you indulge in, there is no beer, in my opinion, that tastes as good as the first football beer, and it always comes on the Hall of Fame game. It's one of the best ones to be had. It is. I love the Hall of Fame game, so we'll be there with that. Carson Schlesinger at 6. At number 5, I thought about putting him higher, but I'm going to sell him short on this, Gibbs, because I know who he is, what he is, and he's elite. It's Denzel Ward at number 5.
I don't think anybody had Denzel Ward in the top 10.
I put him on here because he's important from this standpoint, in my opinion. We'll get to Verse. Spoiler alert, he's on my list. You know what you had when Myles was getting to the quarterback. I was excited to see Tyson Campbell take a step forward. But, like, when you don't have that shutdown corner, or, like, even when Denzel was fighting through the injury, which is another important part for this season, again, I think to stay healthy for him, he just changes everything. I think he just changes so much on that defense when he's locking down Jamar Chase, when he's going to go up against Brian Thomas in the first game there, or Travis Hunter. He's playing nothing but offense, right? Is that not the word on the street? Like, I think he just changes everything on that defense. So I'm going to put Denzel Ward at number 5.
Well, I would tell you this. That's the position probably I'm most concerned about.
Depth.
Yeah.
Depth.
Denzel's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And we know Denzel gets nicked up throughout the season. He's going to miss a few games.
And there's these people that when the Miles trade happened, which again, I've been on with you guys, it was the right time to do it. It was kind of unfortunate in a way, but it was time. I was happy with everything and how that went. But then people just jump on, okay, well, it's time to trade Denzel Ward. I go, well, you need somebody to play on this. You're going to need somebody. You got to look at this defense and say, there is somebody that we have to game plan. I know on offense we talk about when you see receivers or quarterbacks or running backs, like, we got to game plan against that guy. The same thing applies to defense. You need offenses sitting there saying, okay, I need to worry about Jared Verse. I need to worry about Carson Schlesinger. You need somebody that, and I think Grant Delpit is close to that. I'm a big Grant Delpit fan. But it's Denzel. That's the guy that you got to circle on that back end, so I threw him in there at number 5. All right, number 4 for me, I'm sure this guy was on their list too, Spencer Fano. Can you hold that position down, man? Is that...
I don't think he was on either list.
Who was on their list then? Let me do mine, and then if you have theirs, I'm interested to see what their top 10 was. I don't know how they didn't put Spencer Fano on that list.
I don't think he was.
How? Like...
It might be the offensive line, but I don't.
Okay, I went individual, I guess. But, like, Fano, can he be that stalwart, blindside guy for the next 8 years? We all have that belief. And I remember talking about going back to the draft and the excitement over the second-round guys, but you saw even in the early part of the draft, like when the Browns are able to trade back and you're still like, ooh, I'm still feeling really good about where they could be in this position. And then they got their guy. And I was excited about him. He was one of the ones, because there were several to pick from at that point too. Fano was a guy I found super interesting. So that's where I listen, he's going to be a rookie playing one of the hardest positions to play in football at left tackle. I just want to see a little bit of that development, and I'm not going to get discouraged with him. I mark my words. I'm going to tell myself that now. I'm not getting discouraged with him, even though there might be some bumps in the road.
There's totally going to be some bumps along the way.
And he's going to face some damn good pass rushers. You know how that's going to go.
Just in our own division.
Exactly. So I'm going to put him at 4. At number 3, speaking of pass rushers, Jared Verse. And to your point, I don't want him to try to be Myles Garrett. I think he's a player clearly, as young as he is, on the upswing. And I just want to see where, going back to Mike Rutenberg, like where is he moving? Is he going to do the miles? Is he going to move around? Is he going to be standing up sometimes? What side is he going to be on? That's going to be exciting for me. And again, I start with the Miles trade feeling that needed to happen. It did happen. I don't say good, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm not upset about it. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, you better live up to you better live up to expectations here," because I don't feel that way at all about him.
No fan should.
No,
like this was a good trade for all parties involved for a number of reasons.
Right. At number 2, Shedeur Sanders. Does he start? I don't think so. But make no mistake. What that could mean to this franchise if he is the answer. Now, do I believe he is? I don't know. I'd love...
Show me, State.
I'd love
You gotta show me.
I would love that, Gibbs. That'd be one of the best things that could happen to this team. But that's why he's number 2 on my list of importance. Because figuring that out, I really don't think there's much else for this team except that. And you want to know what? He's an option. People can debate and argue about how viable that option is, but he's an option. I know people, I'll tell you this too, for people that instantly want to write him off and say, "Oh, I saw enough." No, you didn't. You did not. And especially with the flux that we had on offense, some of the injuries that we had on the offensive line, some of the change, to write him off completely is wrong. Now, you could sit there and say, well, I feel like you need to show me more, but I'm going to put Shedeur at number 2. Number 1, he's the head coach of your Cleveland Browns. It's Todd Monken. And like anything, the leadership qualities that I've seen from him, even his introductory press conference, which I was at, we were there, just he will set the tone. The players are important, don't get me wrong. The tone and the direction of this franchise will be set by Todd Monken. That is one of his jobs. You got to win games, but how is he setting the culture? I'm avoiding the culture word. It's the culture that we discuss a lot about. It was a big change this offseason. You bring in Todd Monken. It's his shot to show everybody what he can do, and I hope he does it. I hope he does it well.
Okay. No Deshaun.
No.
By the way, Siciliano had the same thing. No Deshaun.
I look at it from I almost know I think I know what I'm going to get. And I think I know where the Browns are heading with it. And the importance on that would be I'm dancing around. I believe Deshaun is going to start for this team. I have no insight to that. It's just how I feel. And if I were in Todd Monken's shoes, that would probably be the route I go, just the experience. You know, and I brought this up. I brought this up before, I should say. You got young guys all over this offense. And I think just having a veteran stability, line up here, you need to be here, let me check the offensive protection here, let me check out of this play, having at least a little bit of experience, like not that he's coached or Todd Monken's coached Deshaun, but he's been in some similar systems. That just, I think, all leans to it. So I just kind of just what it is. You know, it's kind of what I expect. And I hope he plays well, and I hope there's a world. I want Shedeur to play, and I do think he will at some point. So it's not like I'm wishing Deshaun away. I just didn't put him on there because I just think it's kind of just how I think it's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I got
fair.
Monken, Shedeur, Verse, Fano, Ward, Schlesinger, Rutenberg, Boston, Schmidt, and Warhop are my 10.
There's a couple.
Anybody I missed off of their list? Or it was a big one.
The G-Man's finalizing it here.
Okay, we'll look at
it. It is fascinating because when you look at those guys, how many of those guys are young or in their roles for the first time?
Well, I'll do this. Of my 10, Schmidt, I'm going to give me that. Boston rookie, Schlesinger second-year guy, Spencer Fano, and then if you want to add Jared Verse, that's half of my top 10.
Hold on. I'll do you one better. Yeah. First time Rudy's been a DC.
Yep.
First time Todd Monken's been a head coach.
The only experienced guys on my list that have done their job is Denzel Ward. That's it. For the most part. Verse, I guess you could say, because he's played a couple of years. So 2 of my 10 have been like in their role, done that job, know for a fact 100%. Oh, Warhop. Warhop's been around for a long time. So 3.
Yeah, but
3.
He's got his hands full.
What a job that's going to be. And I don't say that negatively because it's same thing with Rudy. Like, that's just a lot of work, man. That's just going to be a lot of work that you got to put in. And finding the pieces. The defense, I think, bigger because you got the whole defense. You're talking about just the offensive line. And I do think there's a world on that O-line. You know, they paid money out, so there's guys that they're going to play because they got paid. But, like, there could be some changes in there. Yeah, we are going to slide Elton back to either guard or center, wherever he starts. Tevin can play tackle. He's done that. You mentioned, where's DeJuan Jones factor into this? Could Barber get into this? Like, that's going to be a lot on George Warhop. And then defensively, you know, I don't want Rudy just to come in here and be like, well, this works, so we'll just do the same thing. Like, no, man, put your own thing on this. And no, that versatility, too, is some of these guys that can just get in there and just make some plays. It's going to be fun. It's going to be pretty exciting. Well, mentioned some of these young guys. There's a really interesting list that came out from ESPN. And Aaron Schatz put together the best teams under the age of 25. Now, I'm going to explain to everybody what his methodology was because he came up with like 8 different criteria that made this list up, including the blue chip players on every team. We'll tell you who the Browns had and, frankly, how massive of a jump that they had from last year's ranking. We'll get to it coming up. It's Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly right here. I need 50 ESPN Cleveland. The youth is certainly important. You want the young guys coming in, you want them playing well, and that's where we get to an article from ESPN ranking the NFL teams based solely on under 25 talent. Browns pretty high on that list. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Jason Gibbs, Matt Fontana, and don't forget, back for Season 3, the Junior Browns backers. I've got a little one that needs to be in on this. Presented by University Hospitals, Rainbow Babies and Children, and Cardinal Credit Union, has kicked off the Browns' official kids club for ages 4 to 12, exclusive gear, epic events, and surprises. Join now at juniorbrownsbackers.com. You can do that for free, I believe, right? You're in the Browns backers for free. The juniors, right?
I believe
think so.
Yes.
I think I looked into it. I'll have to get my little one signed up for that. That'll be an activity for tonight. He's on his P's and Q's when I get home. No.
Well, that's a big if.
That's a big if from time to time. As long as he's all right hanging out with mom, we'll see how it goes. But juniorbrownsbackers.com. So this was an interesting one I found the other day from Aaron Schatz, and he works for ESPN, and he's kind of like one of their many analytics people there. And he ran through all 32 teams based solely on young talent under the age of 25. So let me give you the parameters. His methodology for this. Okay, number one, number of starts made by players under the age of 25. Number of snaps played. This is another important one. The quality of play, age adjusted. So basically, if you're a 21-year-old playing to a high level, that's more important than a 24-year-old playing to a high level. The younger, the better. Contracts, value, and length. He did put a relative importance of position. So quarterback is going to be weighted heavier in this than a safety would be. Draft value, where they were taken, and then expected starter for 2026, and then injury or suspension issues that might go into the season. So again, compile all of this, and this is what Aaron Schatz did to come out with the best teams with the 25 and under talent. Number one on this list was the New England Patriots. Their blue chip players, Will Campbell, Christian Gonzalez, and Drake May. And Gibbs, I would dare say I think the Patriots are number one on this list because of Drake May. And I like Christian Gonzalez, and Will Campbell had some ups and downs. I pretty much think this is a Drake May number one list.
He's 100% is. I like Christian Gonzalez a ton.
Yeah.
I think that's a good find by them, and he's a heck of a player. I'm still not sold that the book is out on Drake May, and he takes a step back this year. My hosts that normally sit in your seat vehemently disagree and call me basically an idiot. Now
I
Drake
would do
May
that
is
for other
good,
reasons.
but I'm intrigued as to what happens now that the competition gets a little tougher and the book's out on it.
Well, here's the other thing. Stephon Diggs was fine. I think getting A.J. Brown was perfect for them, to be honest with you, because that was my fear. They were going to waste him by just taking like mid-level receivers or over-the-hill receivers. Like, you needed to get a number one in there, and I think they did. And the other guys that weren't necessarily blue chip, Travion Henderson is only 23. Kayshon Boutte is only 24. Kyle Williams is 23. So, like, there's other guys certainly on this list, but the Patriots are number one. Number two is the Texans, and they actually were number one a year ago. They fall to number two. Will Anderson, Kamari Lassiter, C.J. Stroud, guys that are on this list. And it's also funny, he puts graduated players like Derek Stingley doesn't count. He turned 25, so he's out. And he said the Texans were number one on this list for 3 straight years. And they're down now to number two, which is still high. But Gibbs, I think that is a little bit of a cautionary tale where it's like, yeah, you could have all these guys even at the key positions, but if your coaching ain't right, the scheme or the fits ain't right, you could have all these nice little young players here, but if you're not getting the most out of them, you're going to end up where the Texans are, which is just high on this list and out by the second week of the playoffs.
Look at the second half of this list, and you will see the teams that contend versus everybody else. And I know Houston's made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
that's about it. They made it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
There's been a lot of faults. Now, are their blue chippers better or worse than New England?
All right, so it's like, would Will Anderson be the best of Drake? It's hard because the positions. Like, I think Will Anderson would be the best player between Drake May, Christian Gonzalez, Will Campbell. So, like, that leans it, but then, like, May is better than C.J. Stroud. Campbell would be the best offensive lineman, and I think Christian Gonzalez is better than Kamari Lassiter.
So we would put New England ahead.
Probably. Now, 3 is the Bears. Colston Loveland, Rome Odunze, and Caleb Williams are their blue chip guys. They're up from 5 to 3 this year. Caleb versus Drake? Now you're tugging at my heartstrings
love
here.
either.
What's that?
He didn't give Luther Burden any love.
No, he's on that, like, the write-up about it, but he gave a Dunze, which I get. I do like Luther Burden a lot. Dunze was fine. That's going to be different with no DJ Moore there anymore. Like, I don't know I get why they were doing. They're ready to, like, turn it over to these next guys, but I was like, you don't know what it's like when DJ Moore is commanding respect on the other side of the ball there, or on the other side of the offensive formation, you get what I'm saying?
Would you rather have Drake May or Caleb Williams?
That's tugging my heartstrings. I don't know. Because, like, Caleb, now that you got Ben Johnson in there, he looks like what you thought
G-Man's
Caleb
guy.
Williams was going to look
They're
like.
BFFs.
Who's that? G-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See him in a few weeks.
I'm a big Ben Johnson fan. I would still. I'll take Drake May, but it's close. It's not. It's Drake May by an inch here, but I'd take him over Caleb Williams.
Is Christian Gonzalez? Would you have Christian Gonzalez ahead of Loveland and Dunze?
Yes, I do, and I do.
So
I
New England
love
still-
Christian Gonzalez.
So then New England would still be the best one.
Still be the best one. And at number 4, your Cleveland Browns. Here's the most interesting thing about this article from ESPN and Aaron Schatz's top 25 or under 25 talent. The Browns were 29th last year. They're up to number 4. That's some good drafts.
Insane.
That's some good drafts there. And you see it with what Andrew Berry was able to get last year. And obviously there's a projection here of, Fano, Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, I think, Boston, all that. Here's his blue chippers for the Browns. Harold Fannin, Spencer Fano, Mason Graham, and Carson Schlesinger. Here's the funny thing. Jared Verse doesn't count. He graduated. He's 25, so he's out. Then you add Quinshawn Judkins, who is 22, 21-year-old Casey Concepcion, 22-year-old Denzel Boston, Emmanuel McNeil Warren's 22. Ronnie Hickman is still just 24 and could be on this
Why
list.
are they not listed?
Well, I think
all of those guys are worthy of this.
I think worthy of blue chip. I don't know what makes him put blue chip versus just like kind of guys, I guess. I don't know how you don't put Quinshawn Judkins as a blue chip guy on this list.
I mean, he was honorable mention top 10 running backs in Fowler's article, and he missed significant time with injury.
Correct. So I think when you add that would be you're going to weight heavier with like Caleb Williams and Drake May, but Gibbs, quantity-wise, I don't think you can find anybody on this list better than the Browns. For that's 7 guys. That's 7 guys that you think are going to be real impactful playmakers for this team. And it's not like these guys are 24. They're 21. They're 22. They're 2 second-year guys that are going to be on this list. Now, like you said, let me just run through a couple more. Like the Titans are at 5 with Carnell Tate and Cam Ward. The Raiders are at 6 with Bowers, Genti, Mendoza.
That's an amazing trio.
It is. The Jets at 7, Bailey, Armand Membu. You could add Arvell Reese, obviously, on that list too. Didn't they get Maui Noah too? Or no, I'm sorry. Arvell Reese went to the. No, Maui Noah went to the Giants. Arvell Reese went to the Jets.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Arvell Reese should be on this list.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Wait, what do you got, G-Man?
Or no, Arvell Reese and Manoa went to the Giants.
Reese
that's what I get because everybody thought the Jets was going to take him. That's what I knew something wasn't right with me on that. But yeah, I mean that's you got to feel maybe better about where the Jets are going. But the whole point is like a lot of these teams are not projected to be all that good, but at least you have the talent that you think you can move forward with. Here's an interesting one. The Seahawks are 8. The defending Super Bowl champions have the eighth best 25 and under talent. Nick Emanuori, who I know is injured, he's going to start on that list, but what a find there. Byron Murphy, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Gray Zabel. Devin Witherspoon, who's going to get paid if he hasn't already, just aged out of this list. So that's pretty impressive there for Seattle.
But that model that Seattle has is a testament to us. You put the quarterback in place, and you go.
I'd love that model. I know everybody wants to draft your quarterback, and I do subscribe to nothing gets fixed until you draft your franchise quarterback. I do believe that very much. But I'll take that path over there. The problem is you need a team to be a complete airhead like the Vikings were and go ahead and let Sam Darnold go and walk away. That doesn't happen very often. So it's easier relative to go draft a team or draft your quarterback for your team than to find it. The Saints are 10. I love Tyler Shuck, man. I listen, I love Schlesinger and Quinshon Judkins, and I don't wish them away at all, but I was screaming for Tyler Shuck in the second round a year ago. You get to the bottom of the list, which I think is the interesting thing to look at too. The worst under 25 talent is no shock. The LA Rams, because they go, we don't care. We will sign, we will trade, we will get rid of these picks. In fact, Gibbs, their only blue chip player is Ty Simpson. That's it. They traded for Trent McDuffie, but he doesn't count for this anymore, and Puka Nakua's over the age of 25. That's just their model. It's the win now, and it's funny because their win now mindset has been now for basically 5 years, and have they missed those picks? Have they missed those first-round picks that they keep trading away for players? Like Miles, certainly, but again, Trent McDuffie, all these other guys are trading away. I don't think they're really missing too many of these picks right now. I just
wonder, is this the year, how we wonder the same thing about the Ravens running back Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. Is this year that Matt Stafford finally runs out of gas?
I mean, I just think about health.
That's what I mean.
Oh, you're talking about just not his play falling off. Yeah, the health.
Yeah, I guess I should clarify that. Henry, you wonder about the production. I wonder about the health of Matt Stafford.
Certainly, and you got a scare of that last year, and you saw maybe that little scare. Now, I'm sure they'll try to get Ty Simpson ready to go. You know, who was in the news today, Jimmy Garoppolo, might not retire after all. Like, to bring him back as a backup, you'll see. You understand you're not going anywhere without Matt Stafford. But, man, I think I could complete some passes in that offense. Like, they got 3 receivers you got to worry about. They got a really good running back. They got Sean McVay. That's where I think they're trust me, they're happy for Matt Stafford to still be there, but they're ready to go ahead and turn this over to Ty Simpson after this year or after next year. We'll kind of see because they're just such a juggernaut. But, yeah, I mean, you can say the same. Like, Devontae Adams is not young anymore. How much you got to worry about him being able to do it? But it's like Puka, your issue with Puka is going to be off the field. Is he going to stay on the field? Is his head right? Is all that kind of stuff going to be the biggest questions there?
The Chiefs have not aged well.
No.
They're 16th.
Yeah.
And I look at that. The Ravens are 17.
Steelers are 28.
The Steelers don't have a blue chip player.
They don't, because they don't. What young guys do they have? Like an Achinor guy, he's a draft pick. You got to see Jennings Dunker. Everybody loves. Did you see his meal order, by the way?
No.
Dude, they put that on social media. So he's an offensive lineman. He's the guy with the mullet. And was he North Dakota? Or Iowa. They put out what he eats the day before a game. It's like he goes to, there's like a fast food place, gets 2 orders of burgers, 2 things of fries, a huge thing of the nuggets, and a milkshake. That's before he goes to dinner. Then he goes to dinner.
And I don't see their dietitians signing off on that plan.
That kid's cholesterol's got to be through the roof. But, yeah, I mean, the Steelers, their guys are just draft picks. And they've also – the trade for Michael Pittman, which I hate to say I really liked. I liked that DK Metcalf trade. They're kind of in that win now kind of Rams model, and I think it is a little driven by Aaron Rodgers, where it's like he ain't going to be around all much that longer. Like, we got to go now. And they just they keep pulling the same Steelers, just whoops, make the playoffs. Like, we'll see this year with no Tomlin, though. I think that's a little not talked about enough. And
I would agree.
we'll see. But I think that's more of like the win now thing. Because the same thing, wouldn't you like one of their young quarterback, like Will Howard? Would you like? Yeah, I know Drew Aller, they just got there, but you'd like to have them on that list for that turnover. The same thing with the Bengals at 20. You still know you got Burrow. Health is certainly important there. What have they done to rebuild that offensive line, to rebuild some of that defense?
I thought I will tell you, I think they've had a really good offseason on the defensive front. And building that up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's a little questionable what you did for Dexter Lawrence, and is Dexter Lawrence going to be the same guy that he was not last year, but the year before, or are you going to get the guy that underperformed this past year?
Yeah, and that's the same thing about the division, that it all has to play out, and we understand that. But the Browns are the best set for the future, just from a pick standpoint, from a young player standpoint. Now, I get the difference is 2 of those 4 teams have elite franchise quarterbacks. That changes things. But, it kind of gets back to the same conversation we've been having, Gibbs. If you just find that guy if you put Joe Burrow on the Browns, they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. There's no debate, right? But you got to find that guy. And the other teams, I think the same thing about Baltimore. You said they were 17, I think?
Yeah, they are 17.
They had Malachi Starks as their only blue chip guy.
The Steelers didn't have one. The Bengals only had one, Amarius Mims.
Yeah, offensive
which I'm
lineman.
not quite sure that's totally right.
You got to see a little more.
Yeah.
And then Starks, he's a safety, and I'm not knocking that, but it's like Zay Flowers aged out of this. Kyle Hamilton aged out of this. And Kyle Hamilton's really good. You know where I stand about Trey Hendrickson. Good luck.
That guy.
Yeah, whatever. But, with Lamar, that time is ticking too. And same thing, Derrick Henry.
Supposedly he wants a new contract.
I bet he does.
The problem is you got to deal with him because he doesn't have an agent, and that's always a pain.
And you look at it,
a distraction.
Can you unequivocally still feel like Lamar can do this sans all these other pieces? Like Mark Andrews isn't the same guy that he was a couple years ago. We'll see what Derrick Henry can be. I think Zay is fine. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think he's anything more than fine at this moment. And on that, what would they do? They ran it with Odell. They ran it with DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't think they have enough weapons for Lamar, which is counterintuitive in a way where you sit there and you go, well, he's Lamar Jackson. He shouldn't need all this. We're going to give him all this money because we don't think we need to spend money elsewhere. Where has that gotten you? And even drafted, Bateman, again, fine. Zay, fine. It's a little same thing with Josh Allen. I'm not rooting for Lamar Jackson in any way, but it's go find him a bona fide stud number 1 receiver. Go find him Denzel Boston, something like that. And he might be singing a different tune about where you're at with Lamar. The offensive line, they lose Linderbaum. By the way, shout out to Ethan Post. Good for him, man. I'm happy for him. He signed with the Ravens today. People think instant starter for them, by the way, replacing Tyler Linderbaum. And they got Vega, which was a really good pick for them at the guard. Trying to remake that a little bit. The defense, again, you know where I stand on Trey Hendrickson. I think it's a big year for the Ravens. Again, just like the Steelers, new head coach. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, new kind of outlook on things. GM probably under the gun in Baltimore after the turbulent offseason that they had. And you got rid of the coach. The next problem is you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nobody left to blame on this.
I thought it was interesting that Arizona was 19th. With all the top 5 picks they've had, their blue chips are Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
This is a make or break year, I would assume, for Harrison.
Well, I would just think that if they do want to jettison, you almost have to while his value is relatively high. You get 2 more years, and you can blame the bad production at quarterback, I guess, but he's got injury problems now. He was hurt most of last year. So if you eventually come to the decision that you want to basically tear it down, which I think they should have, the half rebuilds, we're going to retool some of this, it really doesn't work. You got to go all in. You got to make tough decisions. And that's for Arizona. I don't understand why they're just kind of sitting in purgatory in probably the toughest
hold up.
Well, yeah, you start Carson Beck over there?
Fine. Yeah, that's what I would say.
That's what they should do.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. You know, we talked about the Browns holding off in the tank, which I don't believe. Arizona's a prime spot for a tank.
Well,
that
we've talked about it on the show. Arizona and the Jets are vying for number one.
And the Jets have
three first-round picks.
Mm-hmm. And and it eventually it does, I think, play into where the Browns will be, and if they want to take a quarterback, you got to keep an eye on all of this. But with this draft and what you expect to be the top quarterbacks, there will be no, just like the Raiders, there will be no amount of picks, money, or players that will pry that from their fingers because they're going to want to take Dante Moore or Arch Manning or whoever they believe it's going to be. They're not doing it. In Arizona, yeah, you sit there like, I still think Marv can be good. I have a soft spot for Marv Harrison.
This was Marv's rookie year. 17 games, 62 catches, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns.
That was with Kyler, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Last year, just 12 games, 41 catches, 608 yards, 4 touchdowns.
And it was different injuries, wasn't it? Like it was I'm shooting from there. I think it was like shoulder. Didn't he have an appendectomy for one? I think he had to miss.
Yes.
That is the fear, is that he starts to get a lot of different injuries. I mean, you don't want to be injured at any point. But like when it's shoulder, then the knee, then this, then that, then this, you're like, ugh. So eventually, if you get to that point, you don't want him being run out there anymore. I think, Gibbs, that could be a prime trade deadline type move.
Well, we talked about that on the show in the offseason.
Yeah.
Like, why not offer a day 2 pick?
And the Jeremiah Love thing, the overdrafting of the running backs, like it's hard because there's so many examples of guys that have been first-round picks that have been really good. And I do think it's an exciting era of running back football. We're a little barren for a little while. Like Nick was doing so well for us, and like Derrick Henry, and like, you know, McCaffrey was hurt. Now you sit there, you're like Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and Saquon's back, and I do think there's a little resurgence of the running back life in football. But also that's awfully high, man. That's awfully high for a running back on an offense that you don't have an identity with, and no quarterback. And no future at that position right now. That's a tough go for Jeremiah Love there at 19. You know, another one that I thought was super interesting, too, was the Panthers at 21. Because everybody wanted to say, oh, man, the rebuild is not. They're only blue-chip guys, Tet McMillan. Like, Ike Ekwonu got aged out, and so did Bryce Young. Don't get me started on Bryce Young. But for everybody like, oh, the Panthers, and they were a pretty good feel-good story for a lot of people last year. What are they doing with their young guys? Like, I thought they should have been higher on this list for the rebuild that they went through. And they got Chris Brazell, who I did like coming out of the draft, by the way.
Well, and that's why I thought Tampa should have, tried to – they should have found a way to bring Mike Evans back for one more year.
Yeah.
Or a 2-year deal, something like that.
But man, does he not fit where he went? I'm super excited for him in Tampa or in San Fran.
The NFC South is up for grabs.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know what to expect. I'm interested to see what Coach Stefanski does in Atlanta. In Carolina, can they run it back and catch lightning in a bottle again?
I don't think so.
I'm
a Bryce Young hater. I have to admit that bias here before we get through it. I just don't think Bryce Young is going to be very good or is very good. I guess prove me wrong. Tampa, you want to go with Emeka Ibuka as your one. Did he show you enough to do that? Sure. I think the Chris Godwin thing is they just paid him all that money.
All he does is get hurt.
I know. And I know they like Tez Johnson out of Oregon and then Jalen McMillan. My thing is the run game there. Can they get that back out of Bucky Irving again this year? Because they moved on from, number one, Rachaad White. Like, he's not there anymore. And I thought they had a nice talk about the running backs. I loved that 1-2 punch they had with Bucky and Rachaad White. He's gone now. You're going to put it all on Bucky. That's fine. And then certainly we'll see what Bake has down there. Their offensive line's pretty solid, though, too. But, yeah, they were kind of down far on that list. I want to see if there's anybody else in the 20s that was – Denver, 31. Second to last for Denver. Now it's different because Bo Nix was 28 when he got drafted anyway because he was in college for 75 years. But they trade for Jalen Waddle. That seems like a real go time for Denver, too, with where they sit in that division.
Yeah.
Like, are you Kansas City? I still think watch Kansas
But
City's just going to walk to
I'll
that.
tell you this. Last year, Denver was 32.
Mm-hmm.
They went to the AFC Championship game.
Right. And that's, I think, a lot. That defense is just so good.
Yeah, but, I mean, like you mentioned, you go get Jalen Waddle, you go get some weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some talent on the offensive side of the football. I do like Bo Nix. I might like Bo Nix more than I like Drake May.
Ooh.
I'm waiting for G-Man to whisper, "You're an idiot."
I won't join you on that. Don't yell at me, G-Man. I won't join you on that.
All right.
But I'll listen to it. I think it's just like, here's the difference. I don't think Bo Nix ever does anything that you're like, wow, but they win. You know, he's just, I hate to say game manager. He's been in the league for, 2 years now. But what did everybody scream during that draft? And I can't remember. It might have been Daniel Jeremiah who's even on with you guys. Somebody said they're like, the league made a mistake letting Bo Nix get to Sean Payton. Like that is the match that you wanted was Bo Nix with Sean Payton. And that's what you got. Packers were 30, Bills at 29. And like
I
I
don't
said,
know what the Bill. You want to talk about a team that's got to win now?
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Your quarterback's 30.
You got DJ Moore for you now. Like how much Cook's paid now. You don't have to worry about that. I was waiting for Sean McDermott to get canned. Still hasn't, right?
No,
Right.
he did.
Oh, wait, who? Did he? That's right. He did get canned.
Yeah, he got canned out of nowhere
Is
in
that-
a complete botch by their front office
Wait,
and ownership.
Is that Joe Brady now?
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know if that's an upgrade. but-
That's right. That's right. That's a lot on Josh Allen too, isn't it? Though, isn't that his boy? And that what he? Big year for the Bills either way. We'll
Yep.
have to see. But somehow again, they'll make. I saw somebody that you on Ballot Bet obviously. They picked every playoff team on a bet. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, it should be that easy because it was all like it was the Rams and it was the Steelers and it was the Ravens and it was the Chiefs. And you're sitting there like, oh, man, this is easy. And you're like, no. They go 3 of those teams. Somebody, what's the stat? A third of the playoff roster or the third of the playoff teams always turn over in the NFL.
That's right.
There's the locks that you think, like even the Buffalo, like, oh, yeah, no question. It's not how it always goes because that's what the NFL's got. It's always a lot of fun. All right, coming up, you want to do the 53 breakdown?
We'll
Let's
do
do
a
that.
little training camp at 53.
It is that time of the year where we will run through all 53 as we get ready to go. Don't forget, you can get the mailbag in. That will be our final segment. Get those in on Twitter, X at Browns_Daily. Get the YouTube chat, or now you can email the show, brownsradio@clevelandbrowns.com. 53 roster prediction. It's one of my favorite things to do this time of the year. It's all coming up. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, the official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.
know we back. It's time to get to work. You know what it is. Come on. You know we back. It's time
There
to
it
get to
was, KC Concepcion. Everybody getting back in the building. Work being had. That means training
Might
camp.
have been Denzel Boston.
That was Denzel Boston. I thought. KC,
Minor
I saw.
thing. It was from far away.
It was. I saw
And
Fano.
I did a bad
saw.
job producing and not telling you who we were throwing.
I looked at. I pretty sure it was because KC's hair. He's got much. He's got the hair growing out. It was the difference. But that was Denzel Boston, KC Concepcion. They're all in the building, getting ready to go. It's Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Matt Fontana, Jason Gibbs with you this afternoon. We'll get into the 53-man roster. But first, if a car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK, Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. Daniel Oifusi runs through the 53-man roster for the camp preview. And like we know every year, we can do this today. By the end of August, it's going to be different. And there's always a shock. There's always some sort of one you didn't see coming. And you also got to remember the other teams release players, and you need to have a roster spot for them to pick up. And there's been some success with that with the Browns of the past. So we run through Daniel's preview, and we start Gibbs with the million-dollar question, who's starting at quarterback. And Daniel writes he thinks Monken wants to enter camp with a clear starter, but that didn't happen yet. And it's just the guys went through OTAs. They did everything that was asked of them, but so be it, right? Okay. You want to get that figured out. I don't think there's a massive rush, but by the third preseason game, I think you're going to have that answer.
I think you better have it figured out after the first.
Do you think so? That
Yeah.
quick? Yeah.
I think that, knowing how we handle preseason games, and coach might be different, and we might see the starters a little bit more.
Oh, I do. Yeah,
in
I'm
the
with you on
preseason.
that. I agree.
But I don't know how many starters you're going to see after joint practice with the Bills on Thursday.
No, yeah. That's
And then you play a game on Saturday. So I would think you want your number one in place going into that Bills week.
yeah, because those reps. You got me. That's a great point.
Because
those reps are invaluable.
Yeah, because
Those
by the
coaches
time you
love
get to that
those.
final week of the preseason, a lot of that is installation
Yeah.
for week one. You start putting in the game plan for week one in that final week of preseason.
That's a good point. And new offense, there is some more things. I'm not saying that Shador and Deshaun are all that dissimilar, but there's still going to be some things you can maybe do with Deshaun that you don't do with Shador. I'll listen to that. I agree. All right, 3 players to watch. He lists Sanders, Watson, and Jared Verse. I mean, Verse, it's like you're going to watch, but like we talked about Gibbs, it's more of just I want him to be him. I want him to play his game. I have high expectations, but I just think he's going to be a really good player. Key position battles, quarterback, which we talked about. But Daniel writes about the center guard position, and that's where, even as we discussed earlier, I think the tackles are set, Zion Johnson's set. It's just either right or left guard, where Elton Jenkins is going to play, and who's your starting center going to be? Is it Jenkins? Is it Brailsford? Is it Luke Whippler? Find out, because it's wide open
We really
at this
will.
point.
I mean, that's from a size standpoint. Brailsford, I don't think is the biggest.
Nah, that
But
movement,
he-
though, that
that-
quick, if they're going to
He's got the Alabama side going for him.
and
Played in big games and led on big games.
I love the zone gap scheme run game. And I know that's what we did with Coach Stefanski. I expect that with Todd Monken a little bit, with George Warhop. You need guys that can move, and you need guys that can get down the field to that second level with some speed. And that's, like you said, Parker Brailsford's not the biggest guy in the world. But I even think for like Luke Whippler, who's bigger, he showed me a lot last year getting down the field and doing a good job when he got in there after
Whippler's got to
post-workout.
stay healthy.
Yeah, that was the biggest
That's
blow
it.
there for him. Which I think I really am a believer that I think he can play. I do. But again, just because I think that, you need to show it, and you need to get somebody in there that can be consistent with it.
Let's not forget, too, with Whippler, a lot of people thought he should have gone back to school for one more season.
Right.
He came out early. So this is kind of the make or break year here for him.
Well, and especially, I don't see him as a guard, more just I don't think I've seen him play it. Like, that gets so easy when people are like, oh, if you play center, you could probably play guard. I think Luke Whippler's pretty much a center, which kind of limits what he can do from finding a job or keeping a job.
Look, if he can be a starting center for us, then I don't need anything else.
Call me crazy. I'd enter with him as the starter. I would start camp with him there, put Elton Jenkins at a guard, and go from there with your offensive line. If something changes, change it, but I would give the first crack to Luke Whippler. I really would. All right, this is the interesting stuff from Daniel Oifusi on ESPN. The 53-man roster projection. We start at quarterback. Watson, Shedeur, Taylen Green. That's it. He says, with Dillon Gabriel, where could he be? A trade potential? Could he make his way back to the practice squad? You know, Gibbs, that's the tough thing. Keeping 4 quarterbacks on your roster is just way too hard to do in today's day and age. And I know that you have the elevation and, you know, you can have the emergency quarterback, things like that. I don't think Taylen Green's getting through waivers. Maybe not. We got to see how the preseason goes. But Dillon Gabriel, like, I'm not wishing him away, but that he seems to be the odd man out right now.
Well, and that's what Siciliano has said about Taylen Green. He's like, second half of some of these preseason games is going to be awful fun to see what he can do.
And you know he's going to show up. And you know there's going to be teams circling him, so I don't think you can sneak him through. There were people that wanted to discuss the craziness of trading Shedeur, right, or moving off of him. That's not happening. There's no way that's happening. So I kind of agree with Daniel at this point. Watson, Sanders, Taylen Green. To the running backs, he's got 4, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Amani Marshall, and then Michael Burton bringing the fullback back. Yeah, that's what we've been missing for a couple of years here on this team. Got no arguments for me. Obviously, you know it's going to be Judkins and Sampson with a lot of the
Amani
carries
Marshall, Rocket Sanders, probably the big competition.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about
Rocket
Rocket Sanders. Yeah, Raheem Sanders. I think maybe that practice squad with some elevations for him if you could sneak him through, but I could totally see that. This is another interesting one for me as the tight end group here because Harold Fannin, he's got Fannin, Jack Stoll, who they signed, but then you have Joe Royer, and you also have the kid out of BYU, Carson Ryan, who you drafted. I could see a 4-man group there. Could you not? I don't know.
I think so. I don't like the depth there. I think you need a 4th tight end.
Yeah, well, Stoll as the veteran guy is kind of that. I mean, they're at this point they're all blockers except Fannin.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to have to add. I mean, Royer maybe is the more receiver than the other 2 are, but that's where you'd like to. And Blake Whiteheart is still around too. Let's not send him off either because Fannin, who I think took steps towards blocking and was much better about it last year, like he's your receiver, so you'd like that just big body kind of blocker type of guy. But I actually think there'll be more than just the 4 tight. I could be wrong on that, but we'll have to see. All right, wide receivers: Judy, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Isaiah Bond, Tylan Wallace, and Malachi Corley. So that would mean Cedric Tillman potentially being somewhere else.
Tillman would be gone. Jamari Thrash would be gone.
Thrash has been
hurt.
Yeah, that could be a tough one. I mean, it's just like last year of his rookie deal. That screams, and I don't.
Ced's got to stay healthy.
That's one of those player-for-player swaps in August. You know, we've seen that with some guys like, hey, this guy's just isn't fitting here anymore. Win another spot, trade him for a corner from some other team potentially. You know, I could see that. The locks are obviously the locks being Bond, Boston, Concepcion, and Judy. And I think Malachi Corley's pretty much a lock,
funny.
too.
This whole show, we've talked about Boston and Concepcion and Judy, and we've talked about Ced Tillman. Isaiah Bond's the wild card, man. If you don't think that Coach Monken has big plans for him, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Like, there are.
Offensive line, I also think very, very locked here with 9. Fano Johnson, Elton Jenkins, Tevin Jenkins, Titus Howard, DeJuan Jones, Parker Brailsford, Austin Barber, and KT Leviston. Zach Zinter, man. That's I don't know what happened there. I had high hopes. High hopes. But that's also no Luke Whippler.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't think about that.
That's tough. No Whippler on that list. And that's 9. And I know there's sometimes you take 10 and you keep literally a backup for each. But if Brailsford is your backup center with Elton Jenkins, who can play both spots, so that is also, in a way, essence, That is projecting. I guess no, it could be Elton Jenkins at center, Tevin Jenkins at guard. So I was going to say that's Daniel feeling like Brailsford's your starter.
Yeah, Daniel said the Browns will value versatility among their backup linemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, Brailsford, you don't want to put too much onto him as a rookie, but we'll see. Defensive wise, I think this again pretty locked here. Verse, Collins, Graham, Wright, Isaiah McGuire, Mike Hall, Aiden Huntington, Davis, and Fano on the defensive side.
I will tell you real quick.
Yeah.
I think they need someone else at defensive tackle. I think they need to go get another body.
Yeah, linebacker is going to be solid. Swessinger, Quincy Williams. Backups with Justin Jefferson, who just drafted Nathaniel Watson. And Winston Reed, who, by the way, has carved out a really nice spot for him on this team. Good for him. Corner, need one. Ward, Campbell, Miles Harden, and then D'Angelo Ross, Miles Bryant, Nate Evans. Safety, underratedly stacked. Delpit, Hickman, Emmanuel McNeil, Warren. And I like Chris Edmonds a lot, too. He's got him making it. And we get to the specialists, so we'll see. That is a beauty of camp. You're going to fall in love with somebody or root hard for that guy to make the roster, whoever it might be.
I
we'll
have
have
fallen
to see.
in love with some doozies, only to be ripped out at cut down.
I've seen guys buy jerseys for guys that never
I didn't
played
go
the
that
regular
far.
season game.
I've
Seen it. I've seen it. Not me, but I've seen it. All right, we'll jump into the mailbag. You can get your last-minute questions in on the YouTube chat. You can do it on Twitter, X at Browns_daily, or radio at clevelandbrowns.com. We'll get it all. The mailbag comes your way next. Stay with us. All right, wrap things up here on Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Matt Fontana, Jason Gibbs will be back tomorrow for the guys, too, which will be awesome. I know we're going to get to Nathan and Siciliano's list, too. I don't know if you saw the Malik Collins. Just coming down from the Browns, they're going to place him on the active, physically unable to perform list to open training camp. He has quad injury that he's been having, so he sustained last week or last. Oh, that's right, that was last season already.
Yeah.
What a find that he was up until that injury.
Next to Miles, arguably the MVP of the defense
Yeah,
last year.
so that's not a bad thing for those that don't understand. Like the active, physically unable, he's just not going to be able to be healthy enough to start camp passive physical. But we all hope to see Malik Collins pretty soon. So
that defensive tackle room now is Mike Hall, Marquise Watts, Elijah Chapman, Sam Kamara,
1 minute.
Kalia Davis, Mason Graham, and Aiden Huntington. I think you might need to go get a body.
You might need to get a body. And that's, again, wishing the best for Malik because he played so well. That could be slow coming back off that. We'll
Kalia
see.
Davis now, that's a nice find in free agency again from the 49ers.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see how that all plays out.
Anybody that on Siciliano or Nathan's list?
Siciliano, Munkin, Warhop, Sanders, Judkins, Fannin, Verse, Fano, Williams, Jenkins, Storer.
Interesting.
Nathan had Munkin, Watson, Sanders, Rudy, the pass catchers, Verse, Ward and Campbell, O-line, Swessinger, Quincy, and Quinshaw.
Oh, Quincy's a good one. That's a good one to put on there. But we'll see. We'll have a lot of fun. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, Gibbs and myself, for a little short edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. As always, appreciate everybody tuning in today. It's been Cleveland Browns Daily presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.